Hi, this is John. In this short video, I'm going to talk about tool assumptions that always break. Assumption number one, someone assumes that you need one view and you're going to have certain columns in that particular view. And later you find out, in fact, people don't want to see all the columns. No one wants to see all of it. So you're going to always have to be creating multiple views of the same tables. Number two, anytime there's an assumption that, for example, one team works on one initiative or even one person works on one initiative, that breaks as well. It turns out that more than one team can work on one initiative. It turns out more than one person can work on an initiative. People have different roles on particular initiatives. That breaks. Next, the assumption that you can just have a status and you'll be okay. You will learn eventually that never holds true. You'll need to keep the history of that status to produce like these charts that show the history over time. You will want to review the different status changes that existed. Also, you probably want to have views that show the latest status. Next, the assumption that all teams will have one particular workflow doesn't work out like that. Team A will have a unique workflow, Team B will have a unique workflow, Team C will have a unique workflow, and you'll probably need to map that into some org view where you have to map those particular workflows to each other. You're never going to have just one workflow. Next, the assumption of nesting of work. You might say, I know for sure we're going to have big rocks, little rocks, and tiny rocks. They're going to all be there all the time. Never works like that. Sometimes a big rock is just a big rock. The system will need to accommodate that. Sometimes a tiny rock is just a tiny rock. You can fake connecting it to the big stuff, but that's just kind of a waste of time. Next, you will think to yourself, okay, we're going to have one software development lifecycle, discover, prioritize, build, and learn. That never works that way. Depending on different shapes of work, you'll always have different workflows. For bugs, it might be just do it. For big, huge, crazy projects, you might have a big, huge, crazy set of stages. For optimization efforts where you're, improving a metric over time, it might look a certain way, and it might just be fluid. It might just look like this, like people pairing and working together. So when you make assumptions about the SDLC, those break all the time. Next, people assume all kinds of fixed cascades and stuff. So they're like, oh, our goals are always going to cascade. And then you realize, not really. Some things might cascade like metrics, but goals might be attached to metrics. In fact, goals might be related to other goals. It doesn't work like a strict tree. So anytime you find yourself assuming that there's going to be some sort of strict cascade, just like with work, you can pretty much guess that that will not be the case. Next one, this assumption that like a team and their project and their repo or their document space or anything like that is going to remain stable or it's one-to-one. Doesn't work like that. You're going to always have situations where teams have maybe access to different projects and different repos and doc spaces, and that's how real work happens. So assumptions that there's a team relationship with something one-to-one tends not to work. The next one, you will be persuaded that you have the perfect way to organize or understand allocations. Finance will tell you we really just need KTLO and new features. And you walk and you say to yourself, okay, that's it, we've done it. You will never run out of ways of segmenting your work by horizon, by workflow, by job to be done, by segment, by 2025 strategy pillar, by 2024 strategy pillar, by the finance revenue buckets, team topologies, anything. Any assumption that you have one way to categorize your work will break. And finally, the classic one, you will assume after talking to executives or whoever that they just want to view things at a certain level, at a high level. We don't need to be too into the details. You will learn that that assumption always breaks. They'll want to include lower level stuff. It's too much. It's too little. Oh, actually, marketing leadership needs another view of this. Oh, we don't need epics. We need epics. We need all those things. So any assumption about what people say they think they'll see or need to see, they usually break. Just a short plug. We're working on these problems at .work. You can always reach out to me to talk about it. But I just wanted to cover these kind of funny, repetitive assumptions that keep breaking.